Welcome back, everybody, to the Las Vegas Raiders franchise. Regardless of how today's episode goes, there's going to be a big domino effect. Could we be on to the postseason for the third straight year? Or could it be that our season is done and we've got to look forward to what we're going to do next to try and get this team competitive and ready for the future? I've already gone through some things. I have some ideas. We'll just see how this year ends, what the record is, what our draft pick would be if we end up missing the playoffs, and go from there. I still think this team is way too good to miss the playoffs, but it's very possible it could happen. We have 2 division games today, play the Rams in Week 18, and we're on the outside looking in right now with a 7-7 record. The 7 seed right now would be the Cincinnati Bengals. They are currently 8-6, so we have to make up a game of ground with only a few weeks left. And there are all these other 7-7 teams. The tiebreakers are going to be on another level. Oh, I don't like being put in this situation. You blame the offensive line, you're hurting 5 starters. You blame the quarterback, and then you're obviously hurting the quarterback. But I do think that Denzel Stockton has taken some bad sacks in recent episodes. Some of those you can pin on him. He doesn't always have the best pocket presence, holds on to the ball a long time. We're not going to change much with our offensive identity. And none of this is coming down to what Denzel Stockton can do or what he can't do. When it comes to all the individual areas of the quarterback's game, it's never that Denzel Stockton can't do it, it's that he doesn't do it. He has the ability to do everything you need at the position, but can he do it consistently at a franchise quarterback level? Now, what I do find interesting here, so he's getting all these boosts right now that are making him play as a 91. It's not as true overall. That's 11th ranked right now in our league. I do believe Stockton was a top 10 quarterback earlier. It seems he's being passed up. Above him, you have a lot of established franchise quarterbacks and also some guys who have just done it at a high level for longer. I think Stockton is arguably better than Tua Tagovailoa, better than Dak Prescott. Maybe debatable. I think Dak's game's a little bit different. Much better on short throws than Stockton is. But I will say it is a good thing, I guess, that nobody above Stockton is younger. He's 23 years old. He's alongside C.J. Stroud, and let's take a look at what kind of numbers he has been putting up. He has the superstar development compared to star. He takes better care of the football, isn't putting up the big numbers, but these stats are clearly impressive. Anyway, no need to continue rehashing the same points every episode. I have a plan for the future if we have to go with that here shortly. The defense has slipped, by the way, to 11th in points per game allowed. We're also 7th now in offensive points per game scored. So first up, we got the Denver Broncos today. And I really don't like our chances if this game doesn't go well. Following a scoreless first quarter, the defenses are still dominating going into the second. Denver gets on the board first with a field goal. DJ Reed secures a late first half interception, giving us a chance at points finally. And we can only move the ball 5 yards and tie the game. This is the danger zone here. We're pinned at our 1. Fail to get a first down and give the Denver Broncos a short field. So it's Sam Darnold and this Bronco offense trying to get the lead. They got the ball at our 40-yard line, and it's Javonte Williams with a good run across the 30 for a gain of 14. From the 22, Darnold completes. That's a first down to the 14. Now, it's not been an easy day through the air for either quarterback. We have picked off Darnold twice. I think holding them to 3 here would be pretty big as they run for 3 with Williams. We can't get any score information down below because this is a Thursday night game, first game of the week. Still hoping for a Chargers loss, and down goes Williams. Spillane in the backfield. So you set up everything you want defensively. 3rd and 11, and that's a first down. Nice throw from Darnold. Good catch by Fitzgerald. Javonte heads outside. That is a Denver touchdown as they capitalize on the short field opportunity, and it's 10-3 Denver. I'm getting real worried, guys. Denver moving the ball with players I've not even heard of in this series. 46-yard touchdown, Cortland Sutton. Are we seeing our season get ripped away right here? Why do we have 3 points? Why have we only scored 3 on the Denver Broncos, who are a 4-10 team? Josh Jacobs now, sick of this, rips off 21, his best carry. Stockton out and knocked away. One of the few times lately I feel like he's thrown it accurately at Anthony Clinton. Yeah, this defense isn't any good. They give up the 2nd most points allowed. But you know these division games, how they play out in real life? I kind of approach them the same way in Madden. As Stockton is taken down. Kenneth Murray. Just like in real life, I don't care what the records say, division battles can get weird, low scoring, and competitive when you least expect it. That's a big throw up the seam. I feel like we've seen the same thing happen in Madden against the Chargers in this series. You can go back to past series and probably see similar things in these games. First down and intercepted. Watched his dad do it as a kid, and now Pat Surtain II looks to wrap up a huge upset win for the Denver Broncos. I had a whole plan for this episode involving these next 3 games. Our season might be done by the time that Week 18 game comes around. Down 17, and this game is essentially over. This is how we approach our final 3 games. You get the 4-win Broncos right away. You know this needs to be a win. We're not even keeping it competitive. Are we even going to score a touchdown? Nice throw to Adams, but where has that been? What is Jacobs doing here? Still a magician, down 17 with the game over. And that is a touchdown to Michael Mayer, cutting the lead to 10. We were able to get the ball back and kicked a 56-yard field goal, basically meaning this game is going to come down to an onside try. And now these tries have gotten pretty close lately. This one is fielded by Cortland Sutton, and that should be your ball game. Somehow we make it a 1-score loss. We were lucky to even do that. The Raiders fall to 7-8 with 2 to play. And given how competitive the AFC is, I don't think you're a playoff team if you can't get to double-digit wins. Like I said last episode, there are only 3 or 4 teams that aren't in the mix, and we're about to join them, I think. They held the passing game in check, just 5.5 yards an attempt at 223 total. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Just not going to cut it, not good enough, and changes are going to have to be made to this team. And our defense got 3 interceptions, held them to 20 points. I mean, that's a winning performance. It looks like the Chargers did lose their game at least, so we are 7-8, and they are 8-7 going into this game. There are still only 2 teams in the AFC with double-digit wins, but now 2 with 9 and 6 with 8. We're behind them, obviously. We're currently 11th in conference, and we need to get 7th. Before we get into our next game, I've been looking through some draft prospects, knowing we really need to maximize our first-round pick this coming year, and there's one player in particular I wanted to show you. So I don't think wide receiver is the greatest need right now, but for the long haul, there still is a need there outside of guys like Rashad Bateman. Who do you count on 3 years from now even? So the number 1 receiver in this class is Jeff Jones, and I have no argument there. Jones is 20 years old. I don't know if I've seen a generated prospect under 21. So right off the bat, he's 20. And now that I think about it, maybe there are a couple 20-year-old prospects I have seen. Jeff Jones is projected to go in the teens. He is a solid athlete, maybe a little bit above average in some categories. And then he is also a pretty polished route runner. Has good hands, yards after the catch skills. There's a lot to like with Jeff Jones, and he's more intriguing than the vast majority of receiver prospects that I've scouted. But with that being said, now we've got the Chargers in Week 17. And if we lose, the season's done. Do the Raiders show up today, or are they going to lose 3 games in a row to their 3 division rivals? That would be a sickening way for this season to end. And the Raiders score the game's first points with a Josh Jacobs rushing touchdown. They're controlling this game much better than the last couple. And it's currently a 17-0 game. After not scoring in the entire first half, the Chargers put a touchdown on the board with their opening drive of the second half. So let's join the offense for a little bit now. Up by 10. 4 minutes to go in the third quarter. Good catch by Clinton, who's getting a lot more looks from Denzel Stockton. On second down, pass on target. There's Taylor Seymour. Now the 6-rounders getting involved. You have my attention. Why does Seymour have 4 catches on the day, though? Handoff Jacobs. Out the right side. A powerful gain of 8. I wonder if Bateman is hurt right now, because he should be out there. Yeah, he's got to be at least missing a few plays here. And that is caught by Jacobs. He's taken off down the sideline to the 13. The fake to Jacobs. Stockton. Touchdown. Will Dissly. Now the offense is cruising down the field. Mike Williams, heard of him? Just brought them inside the red zone. We know a lot about Mike Williams on these series, but it's going to be a Keenan Allen touchdown. We're in the fourth quarter, and the Chargers close the lead a little bit. You'd like to think a touchdown here could put the game away. We have a lot of one-score games in this series. I want to see us become a team that can put teams away without it coming down to those one-score game coin flips. On second down, in the middle of the field, that's Michael Mayer. 3rd and 3. To keep the drive moving, it's Jacobs, and he gets it. He's awesome. I got to get all my Josh Jacobs excitement out before I watch him wear a Packer uniform. That's going to be not a great experience. Jacobs gets 4, and we're losing receivers left and right. Anthony Clinton is now hurt. You know what that means? Our depth chart now would be Devontae, Taylor Seymour, and DeAndre Hopkins, but the rookie just dropped one. Seymour, come on, man. That's a slant for a first down. Big mistake. DeAndre Hopkins, though. Remember when I signed him? I don't blame you if you don't. And down goes Denzel Stockton. A 10-point game. Chargers have enough time for this. And ripping off a strong run is Tevin Barr. Touchdown, punt, touchdown is not a ridiculous sequence here, especially with a quarterback as good as Herbert and all these playmakers. Less than 7 to go, though, as Wilson bites on the fake, and Herbert gets the first down yardage. Then they go empty. Keenan Allen now for 8 tough yards. Herbert pressured, and there is Crosby and friends. He'll get half credit. Had Hayes and Wilson also meet in the backfield. Good to see Crosby back here for the final run this season. On third down, Herbert looks left, fires deep, overthrowing a man who was open. And that was Tevin Barr. The Chargers will go for it with 5 minutes left to go. Defense with a chance to get us closer to a Week 17 win. Herbert slings, knocked away by DJ Reed, who I acquired in a mid-season trade at the deadline for these very moments. 10-point game, and looking for the big dagger. We got Seymour inside the 20. Clinton is back in the game as Stockton dumps it to Adams, taking what the defense gives. So that's Devontae's first catch of the day. We're missing Rashad Bateman, yet we're having one of our smoothest days on offense, and down goes Stockton. The clock is starting to be a factor, and Tyree Wilson just sacked Justin Herbert. Time running out. That's caught by Mike Williams. Out of bounds. We send 4, and they swing it out in space. Down in bounds, they have to burn a timeout. They would now need an onside kick in order to have any sort of a slim chance. Herbert steps up, and he is hit down by Milton Williams. I'd really like to beat these guys by multiple scores. 3rd and goal for Herbert. He's hit down by Hayes, and that is going to be your game. Ramon Hayes seals it, and it's a 27-14 win. We get to 8-8 with 1 game left. So there's still a little hope for our team, and we played a really good game, it would appear, and did it shorthanded too. Stockton had a smoother experience without using his star receivers as much. Jacobs didn't even have a big day. So surprising it was actually this strong of a game. Taylor Seymour had more receiving yards than all of the wide receivers. Hayes, 2.5 sacks, 2 for Milton Williams. Obviously the pass rush had a great day. The Rams are our final opponent at 9-7. The Bengals hold the 7 seed still in this conference, and we do not have a head-to-head against them. Now, head-to-head tiebreakers are good for when there's only 2 teams, but when you start to have 3 or more, the tiebreakers get really messy. You start looking at, conference record, common games. It gets really hard to sort it out manually here in Madden. But right now, we're looking at 3 teams now double-digit wins, and 5 that have 9. That's not promising. We're one of the 3 teams at 8-8. So we're going to have to win. We're going to have to get some help and hope the tiebreakers fall our way. Some final upgrades coming through for this last game. Here's Milton Williams, who's definitely showed up a lot down the stretch. Here's a good example of why you'd want to get some good depth on your team. We've had Michael Pierce stand out against the run, Ramon Hayes play well, but he's also been hurt at times. It's opened the door for Milton Williams to have 36 tackles and 9 sacks. Utility upgrade for the fullback, Nolan Irwin, of course a fan favorite. And last, we have Rashad Bateman, who is thankfully not like long-term injured or anything, but didn't play much of that last game. Route running upgrade for him. And Bateman only needs 3 yards to set a new career high. On to our final game of the regular season. Will there be more football for the Raiders, or will it be next season, year 4? Down below, we're hoping to see as many AFC teams lose as possible. We picked off the Rams on the first play of the game. Jaguars lose. They're 9-8, so that's obviously a good sign. We'll go Jacobs, and shouldn't you be retired? Another give inside. Jacobs inside the 5. Gain of 10. And the quick throw. Caught by Adams. Touchdown, Raiders. Nice to capitalize and get a quick 7. The Ram quarterback is Dalton Barrett. Second-year player, good up-and-coming quarterback in the franchise. But he can't find his tight end on the outside and opens 1 for 4. The defense is dominating them right now. We just got ourselves a short field. And we're taking this inside the 10 and getting another touchdown. It's Davante Adams. Rams finally on the move now. Puka Nacua to the red zone and to the end zone. We're jumping to the second half now. Ramon Hayes just picked up another sack. It is 21-17. Got a little high scoring at the end of the first half. Raiders still lead. 28 more to Davante. And we rejoin the offense. At the 26 of the Rams. Pressure. Stockton. Overthrowing Jacobs. 4-man rush. Stockton. End zone. Got it. Touchdown Adams. Third of the ball game. A dominant performance. Stockton loves to open it up in these situations. And by these situations, I really mean every down and distance. Doesn't matter. They can't cover Adams today. In control in the fourth quarter. Big conversion there. Up 11, and now 3 scores up. Extra point was blocked. But a 34-17 game now. And our Raiders take care of business against the Rams. That's back-to-back dominant wins, multi-score victories to end the regular season. And that is some good momentum going into the postseason. If you make it. And at 9-8, I honestly don't know. Is that enough? Because I really think you've got to win 10 in this conference. But maybe the 7 seed is the exception. Denzel Stockton, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, which will give him his first career 40-touchdown season. 3 of those went to Davante Adams. And let's see if we got more to play. We got some morale and XP for this win. This was a really quality win. But now it's the moment of truth. Will we have a game on Wild Card Weekend? 9-8, is that enough? It is not. It is not enough. And the Raiders do not make it to the postseason for the first time in the series. Probably 1 win short. Wow. Here's your playoff picture. A 9-win team did get in, but there was a tie with 4 teams that we lost. 1 more win anywhere gets us a playoff spot. And there were missed opportunities littered throughout this schedule. How about today against the 4-win Broncos where we laid an egg? Lost by 3 week 1 against the Chargers. 3-point loss to Kansas City. That'll happen. 3-point loss to the Jags. We end with a top 5 scoring offense, the 11th scoring defense, a quarterback with 40 touchdown passes, yet we're not a playoff team. Final numbers on Denzel Stockton. Why did I think he had 40? I thought he had 35 going into that last game. It must have been 32. Anyway, it is a career high. 37 touchdowns for Denzel Stockton, 14 interceptions. He's played pretty well now for 2 years especially. Still has a step that we need him to take to commit long term. I know there's going to be a lot of talk about trading Stockton, especially in this episode, as there has been. I don't see it happening. If it does, for year 4. He's under contract. We are not really in a position to go and replace him. There's only 1 first rounder in the class, and I don't think I like him enough to move off of Stockton for him. But now what gets difficult is that going into the offseason, Josh Jacobs is a free agent after 1,300 yards, 8 touchdowns. He's a brilliant running back. He's amazing to watch. Rashad Bateman outperformed Devontae Adams, but to me it's 1A and 1B. Devontae Adams is a free agent at the end of the year, which is now obviously. Same is true for Michael Mayer. Anthony Clinton got some good production this year. I like him in this role. I love him as a pairing with Stockton. Like, these two down the field are a match. On the intermediate routes, Stockton's missed him too much. Hopefully that's just kind of fluky, but these two fit well together in the same offense. I like the offensive line we're building. I have drafted a new starter every year. 10 sacks allowed by Leon Hillhouse. He and Colton Miller both gave up 10. Not what you want to see, but I'm sure some of those were Stockton's fault. Some, not all. And then on defense, Max Crosby, our leading sack producer, is a free agent. Milton Williams, who was second, he's a free agent. L'Jarius Sneed, free agent. Robert Spillane. Do I have to keep repeating myself? Stockton was even top 10 in MVP voting as we missed the playoffs entirely. Let's go to the AFC awards, where Isaiah Pacheco is the Offensive Player of the Year. Alex Highsmith is the Defensive Player of the Year. Cassidy Harris of the Broncos takes home the Rookie of the Year. In the NFC, it was Evan Gray, the Bears' young quarterback. For Defensive Rookie, Denard Davis of the Titans. And Tyler Carroll of the Lions. Stockton was named the 6th best quarterback in the AFC. Best running back is Jonathan Taylor. Receiver is Rashee Rice. Creed Humphrey at O-line. Gregory Rousseau, best D lineman. Back to Highsmith. Amani Hooker, best DB. Evan McPherson, best kicker. Dak Prescott led the league in passing yards and was close in touchdowns, so that goes to Patrick Mahomes. Wow, Evan Gray, 37 touchdowns as a rookie. He put up very similar numbers to Stockton, but better. 8% more in completion percentage, 0.8 more in yards per attempt. Evan Gray might be the real deal in Chicago. Normal development. Well, not after winning Rookie of the Year. He's going to be at least star next year. Jonathan Taylor gets the rushing title for this season. And one thing I'm already thinking ahead to next year is, should we end up keeping Josh Jacobs? I think our offense needs to go run heavier. You know, we tried this year and last to be the, air it out team, and we're going to still do that, but I think maybe be a little more leaning on the run on first down, try to run play action off of it, just trying to think of ways where we can maximize Stockton and try to get the most out of this offense. And that might be a way for us to avoid some mistakes, be really run heavy on first down, run heavy in the red zone. I bet that would improve things. CeeDee Lamb nearly had 2,000 yards this year. Rarely do receivers have that kind of production here in Madden during the simulation. Alex Highsmith, 18.5 sacks. That is the most in the NFL, tied with Aiden Hutchinson. 4 interceptions, 6 for Amani Hooker and Sauce Gardner, and 6 for Nate Hobbs, the former Raider. We moved on from him as we have a few corners in the series. He's become a superstar in Arizona, picking off 14 passes in 3 years since we, I believe, traded him or just didn't sign him. So here's one that got away. So overall, this year was a failure. I sacrificed a lot to try and make this team win, trading up with a second and a third to get Leon Hillhouse. We gave up a second-round pick as part of a package to land DJ Reed, who at least is on the team for next year as well. But now we have less assets to approach this offseason, a bunch of expiring free agents. At the very least, we have a lot of cap space to go with it. And signing these guys might not be all that challenging because they want to come back in the first place. But what does the approach become then for the offseason this year? Because Stockton is still going to be on the roster. The soonest we'd move on from him would be probably the trade deadline of next year, and that would have to be a pretty bad situation. You pick up his option because that gives you another year of team control. But I think it does become challenging to think about the build for next year and what free agents we try to bring back, what free agents we maybe think about moving on from. And I also think that maybe there is an opportunity at like a tag-in trade. Stockton is not a Pro Bowler this year. Evan Gray with the Bears was. So Rookie of the Year, Pro Bowler. We had Josh Jacobs make it to the Pro Bowl. Nolan Irwin as well. Rashad Bateman is a first-time Pro Bowler. Quandre Wooden, we saw him, I believe, in that Cleveland episode, I want to say. And they ended up being a playoff team. They must have had a really wild second-half run. Along the O-line, no Pro Bowlers. And on defense, some guys who were solid, but not Pro Bowlers for us. Trayvon Merrick makes it as the lone defender. Yeah, the Browns did get hot in the second half. They were really good. Right after beating us, that launched kind of their run, I guess. That's beautiful. The Steelers win the Super Bowl 10-6. That is Steelers football right there. Holding the Cowboys to 6 points. I'm happy to see a new team win. And for it to happen like that. I'm not even like a Cowboy hater. Like, I've grown up, obviously, as a football fan. I've noticed a lot of people do not like the Cowboys. And they were great in the 90s. And, you know, by the time I got into football, they weren't a top team anymore. And since I've been a fan, they've barely had any playoff victories. So I'm not like a Cowboy hater. But when it comes to Madden, I don't like this team one bit because of their recent success over the years in the Dak Prescott era here in Madden. The Chiefs ended up making it to the conference championship, and those games were both held between the 1 and 2 seeds. Dallas with a big win over San Francisco, but the Steelers are the new champs. No touchdown passes in the Super Bowl, the way it should be. Old school football, the forward pass isn't much of a thing. Najee Harris gets 100 yards rushing. And then I know TJ Watt had that MVP with 3 sacks of Dak Prescott. Kenny Pickett, now a Super Bowl champion quarterback in the franchise. So what's to come for us? Let's first check out retirements. And for the Raiders, DeAndre Hopkins, Kevin Zeitler, Khalil Mack, Michael Pierce. Those were 4 veterans on 1-year deals. I'm not surprised by any of those. Darren Waller, Travis Kelce. Yes, that is great news. Travis Kelce retires. Keenan Allen, Gerald Everett retire. Give me a couple Broncos here. Tyron Smith, Kyle Juszczyk. All right, those were veterans on new teams. That doesn't exactly count the same. 5 head coaches ended up being fired. Dennis Allen, Lamont Booker, Robert Saleh, Lynn Wagner, and Brandon Staley. So the Chargers will have a new coach we'll learn of eventually. Oh, we can do that right now. They got Jeff Powell and will run the Broncos offensive playbook. This UI here is so strange. The way they've put this together with some of the tiniest text I've ever seen. So instead of talking playoffs, we're talking about who are we taking with the number 14 pick in the draft. I think, like, missing picks, there's definitely room for us to trade down and likely still address our needs, picking all the way up here at 14. I know I mentioned Jeff Jones earlier. He is projected to now go at 9. His stock is continuing to rise. Now, one reason I do think here about Jeff Jones and possibly seeking him in the draft is because I wonder if maybe Davante Adams is one of those players that we could look to try and move on from. Not because he isn't great, but I think I want to take this offense in a bit of a different direction. Josh Jacobs, 29 years old. I still think he has some years of dominant play ahead of him. Although at $20 million a year, that's a lot. Davante, 2 years, 30. Okay, now we're talking different math than we were earlier today. but the regression is real. He went down to an 86. So Davante, when I checked on his stuff earlier, I mean, he just went down 48. 6 medium route running, 5 deep. Short route running, it's in there somewhere. That's down 4. Davante Adams just suffered some really serious regression. He's a true 86. And he's still a great receiver. But I do think that if we franchise tag him, it'd be reasonable to trade him for a second or third round pick. We also have the option of just bringing him back. But I'm hesitant to try and run back like this exact team. So Crosby wants $40 million a year. That is a lot, especially as we approach Denzel Stockton possibly getting like a 5th-year option with us. Do we move on from him? Well, if their quarterbacks aren't in the draft, I'm not just going to move on from Stockton to go and play like an 80 overall guy who obviously won't be the guy. But the math gets tough when you start paying an edge rusher $40 million. Josh Jacobs didn't really regress much, so he's still looking in that $20 million a year range, which I think is above the current ceiling at running back in real life. This would basically start his own market there. Max Crosby at 40. I don't think anybody's at 40 right now in real life for non-quarterback. I wanted to say that was like 33, 35. Yeah, Nick Bosa makes $34 million a year. So we'd also be kind of setting a high bar for Crosby. And we are a couple years in the future. The cap is rising, and they made it so cap demands rise with that salary cap inflation, which is awesome as a way to balance out the future years in the series. Lamar Jackson right now on his 5-year deal has a $74.5 million cap hit. CJ Stroud is a 43.7. Justin Jefferson is over 40 as a non-quarterback. Justin Fields is getting 40. And he isn't even actually an 80 overall. So the quarterback market now in this series, man, that's something. Joe Burrow's in the 50s. Josh Allen in the 50s. Denzel Ward's getting 40 plus. Tristan Wirfs 30 plus. Cowboys have 71 committed to Dak Prescott while being $20 million over the cap. Can't wait to see how they dig out of that hole. But especially seeing Davante Adams regress like this, like it's just, you cannot run this team back. There has to be some differences. And right now my thought is let's run the ball. Let's run the heck out of the ball next year. Be a play action team off of it. Run heavy in the red zone. And maybe we end up tag and trading Davante Adams. Or even like a sign-in trade, like 2 years, 30 going to a team. That's not a bad deal to whoever would be the recipient. And of course, we have the decision too on Denzel Stockton's 5th-year option. It won't kick in for next year. It would be the year after. $44 million. I think I basically need to pick that up, so he's under contract to be traded. And then he would be eligible for a franchise tag. And I will follow real-life franchise tag rules in this series. They are not actually in Madden, but when you tag a player a second time, which has not happened very often, they get a 20% raise over the previous year. Players can only be tagged up to 3 times, and that third time would be a 44% raise. So you don't often see multiple tags on a player, but I will follow those in real life rules when it comes to this series. But to show you how quickly our cap space could get dried up, we have 122. Let's say that's 40 to Max Crosby, 20 to Josh Jacobs. That's half of your space, basically. You're left with $60 million to figure out, all right, Mayer doesn't want to come back. Davante does, but he's getting older. L'Jarius Sneed doesn't want back. Thankfully, we have DJ Reed, right? All right, Robert Spillane is a starting linebacker. Milton Williams played a pivotal role last year. We just had Michael Pierce retire, so that could be $9 million for a Milton Williams caliber player. The space is going to go fast if we end up bringing back Jacobs and Crosby. which I don't think is a terrible idea. But I think about possibly needing more picks for next year and building up a foundation. The only first-round quarterback is Joel Maddox from Michigan. And he is a downfield archetype, strong-arm passer. I don't have enough info on him to feel good at 50%. So he's just not a current target of mine. He has some of the same shortcomings, too, that Stockton does. Before I thought tagging Mayer would be likely, but now I don't. And I think we might be looking for a tight end in this draft class. I have a bunch on my board, obviously, but I don't have the day 2 picks to make getting one easier. So I'd love your thoughts down below in the comment section. What should be the off-season plan? I also forgot to look at the developments, and Denzel Stockton is now a superstar. And yes, I do want to see what a superstar development Stockton looks like, as he could get more upgrades next year, maybe playing a little more run-heavy offense. I'd just like to see how it looks. That play action at 74 might feel a little bit low for some of the play action stuff I'd like to do, but I think it's a good direction to explore. But I suppose that is going to put a bow on year 3 in the Raiders franchise. And I'm looking forward to the future as I try and piece this together. I want to win. I want Stockton to be the answer. That's kind of my challenge. It's easy to just tear a team down and start over, but I think that it would be even more impressive if I could change the narrative on this team and really break out next year to change the way things look around here. So I'll see you in the year 4 offseason, everybody. Leave your thoughts below, and please leave a like. Subscribe to the channel. I'll see you all next time. Have a great day.